So here's a question. How do you get from being furious mad to unconditional forgiveness? Some people would say you don't, but I think there is a way. I can show you the light at the end of the tunnel if you don't believe me, and I'm going to show it to you today. I'm also going to tell you a story about how I discovered a ceremony that can really help you getting to that point where you really can actually let go of something. And it's something I'd never come across before, and it just goes to show you there are ways out there of helping you get there that you may not know of. The other thing I want to talk to you about is I have a challenge for you. A very, very specific challenge to do with forgiveness. See if you guys are up for taking it. So if you've been watching my various IGTV shows, then you know that I like to have like humorous little interludes, especially when we're talking about serious things like forgiveness. And last episode I was eating ice cream, and this one I want to reveal to you my other personal vice: cereal. My challenge question for you is, if you had a choice to live with your heart wide open or with your heart closed, what would you pick? And this is going to seem silly, but I want you to think about it in this way. Look, I'm opening my door here. Do you want to live the door wide open on your heart, opening up to all kinds of possibilities, as I just have here on my balcony? Or do you want to live life with that door to all the possibilities that are out there closed? Because that's what happens when we are in anger and bitterness and wanting revenge. We're closing the door to our heart. We're a tortoise and we go into a shell, and we can't move forward. We're stuck in that situation. Now, you know, sometimes I've been there myself when you're so angry that there's no talking to you, and you just have to go through that process. And there is no correct way to go through forgiveness. There's no timetable. It happens when it happens. And no matter what I say in this episode or the last episode, there are some people who are not ready for forgiveness under any circumstances now. But that can change. I'm going to show you that hope, that light at the end of the tunnel as we go through the episode. There's always a way. Always. There's no spiritual lesson with crunchy nut cornflakes. There's just golden delicious. Come on. I went through a situation where I realized I needed to find a way of letting go. I needed to find a way of unconditionally forgiving. And I came across the idea and the concept of doing a ceremony. Basically, where you write down all the things you want to say to the person, positive and negative, but done with love, which is a challenge. And then what you do is you light the piece of paper that you've written on, carefully of course, set it on fire. And you take the ashes of the paper, and you just spread it either in water or on the ground and earth. And the idea is, by doing this process, that you're truly letting go of it, and in a loving way, with grace. And I went and I did this, and I found it incredibly effective.
just going through the whole process, writing the letter, deciding where I was going to go and do it, setting it on fire, and spreading the ashes, just the whole process of doing it. And for those of you who may be interested in learning more, there's all kinds of information. Just Google it and you'll find the various different ways there are to do this.
Now, I'm not getting paid by Kellogg's to do this. This is turning into a commercial now at this point. So I guess that if we're going to pretend it's a commercial, I might as well just go all in, right? Just go all in. Kellogg's Crunchy Nut Cornflakes, the breakfast of champions. I'm ready.
What is this light at the end of the tunnel? Well, the first thing is that at a certain point, whenever a person is ready, I think that they have to be able to try and be daring enough to try and find perspective on it, and to kind of step back out of the situation. Imagine it wasn't them that was in it, and that can come to people in different ways. What that does is the perspective changes your awareness of the situation. There are three things that for me give hope to showing that we can go from anger to unconditional forgiveness. We feel like an injustice has been done, and we're not going to be happy until justice has been done. What I believe is the light at the end of the tunnel for that feeling is the universal law of karma. It is the way the universe balances out things. If you lose something, it will bring something back into your life, and even better than what you've lost. We have the tendency to go, oh my God, woe is me, the end of the world. But sometimes we have to be able to stop, breathe and go, maybe this is a gift, I just don't see it like that at the moment. Because another fundamental universal law we're coming back to here is that everything happens for a reason. Nothing happens by accident. So something may seem absolutely awful and terrible at that moment, but what it's leading to is something better. So if a person is believing that karma can take care of the justice, if they're looking at the situation and going, well, you know what, this is not how I was expecting things to go, this is very hurtful, but maybe there's a blessing in it, in disguise. They're quite a long way away from where they were in seeking revenge and or possibly been stuck feeling like a casualty. And you would need to have those two things kind of in perspective and have an awareness of those things before you get to the third one here. People they're just so caught up in their own BS and their own demons in their mind that whatever they're doing has really nothing to do with you. Now, it's a really hard concept to wrap your brain around. It was one of the most difficult things. I still struggle with it at times. But you do get better at it. Just after a while, you can catch yourself and go, no, stop taking it personally. This has nothing to do with me. When you forgive, you're not doing it to let somebody off the hook. You're not doing this to allow them to keep behaving the same way towards you. What you're doing here is for you. It's not for them. By unconditionally forgiving somebody, you're letting go and you're opening your heart and moving forward. Very challenging thing to do, but this takes me back to the challenge that I gave to you earlier in the episode. How would you prefer to live? With the door wide open, your heart open to all the possibilities that God or the universe, whatever you believe, can bring your way? Or are you going to close the door off and be the turtle and go into the shell? You know what? You have to go into the shell for a couple of months or a couple of years. I've been there. Sometimes that's what we got to do in order to come out the other side. But the most important thing I want to share with you is there is hope. Whether it's doing the ceremony like I mentioned earlier, or whether it's considering some of the ideas that I have here, there is light at the end of the tunnel. It is possible to go from rage and hurt to unconditional forgiveness. It's going to take work. There's no shortcuts, but it's possible. And I think even if you're in the worst possible space you could be now, to have that bit of hope, it's got to mean a lot.
thank you so much to my good friends and spiritual mentors, Shari and Diana, for having many conversations with me about the topic of forgiveness. And we had some great brainstorming sessions, and you've seen versions of these episodes that no one else has seen. And you know, it's been hard work working these 2 episodes. They're very important to me, but it's been very rewarding to do it, and I do appreciate you taking the time to watch the episodes. And just remember, Hugh, has nothing but love for you.